in the car with me before. I need to set something up that's better for road travel. And I thought I could set up a tank, but I really don't feel like breaking that tank apart and cleaning it and everything. And I was like, I haven't set up my Bennett in a long time. So yeah, I'm squonking right now. And it's kind of nice.
Wait, you guys be squanching?
Dude, that's squanch life? Squanch life?
I love getting squanchy.
It just reminds me when we had DJ Slim on. He's like, "You guys be squanching?"
That was awesome. And that's a perfect moment for us to get into the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to Shedtime Podcast in 3, 2, 1. Let's hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Shedtime. What is Shedtime, you ask? Well, it's code for the consumption of cannabis, but it's much more than that. Shedtime's a state of mind. It's art, it's music, it's cryptocurrency, technology, it's food, it's vaping. It can be whatever you want it to be, as long as you're not letting the bastards get you down, not being a dick, and making it fun. When you're in the shed, it's whatever your mind allows you to create. So now let's get to the Shedtime Podcast.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Shedtime Podcast, your weekly dose of Shedtime therapy. We are trying to get as Shedtime as possible today, and it's been a fucking crazy hectic week for me. But I gotta say, something that's really been bringing me a lot of joy is that citrus punch from Panera Bread. Shit's pretty fucking fire.
I've never actually gone to Panera Bread.
I've heard about it.
I've drove past a bunch of them.
I don't even know if we have them in Canada. We probably do.
There's just nothing on that menu that screams "eat me."
Dude, I like sandwiches.
I
do too, but even their sandwiches.
$5. This is a $5 drink though. Like that's what kills me. Like,
yeah.
What is special about it?
It's just really tasty. This one's citrus punch. It's like mango, yuzu lemon. I can't remember the other citrus fruits that are in it, but those are the three that stand out still in my brain. But it's really fucking tasty. And honestly, their mac and cheese is pretty goddamn fire. And that was the whole reason I even went. I was like, I need some mac and cheese in this.
Oh, see, honestly, just like, so this is what I thought. Like, no joke. I thought the Panera Bread was just like a place that made like their own fresh bread. And then they just made a bunch of like fucking Sammys that they put in like those fucking like little panini presses, and like that's what they did. Honestly, like that's what I thought it was. It's more than that. You're saying
way more
that's
than
not
that.
even
like
what they do.
You can go buy coffee, donuts, pastries, and shit in the morning if you want, or all day, any day,
and stuff.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be like a healthier, alternative to your main fast food restaurants.
Okay. Yeah. And honestly,
they have a lot more healthier.
It's not that
options,
healthy, but yeah, it's healthier.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. Yeah. Dude, honestly, man, I know you guys probably aren't big Subway people, but I go to Subway every now and then just because there's one by work. And dude, I'm at the point now where I'm not even going to be going to Subway to get a sandwich anymore, because, dude, you used to be able to go back in the day and get like a decent amount of veggies on your sandwich. You know what I mean? Now, dude, they'll like, of course, they still throw that shitty fucking shredded lettuce on there that I really don't like. But then you like ask for like some pickles, and they put like 5 pickles on an entire foot-long sandwich, and like olives, and it's just like maybe 10 half olive slivers on there. It's like, dude, what the fuck, man? What happened to like a good, handful of each? You know what I'm saying?
That was the big thing, too.
That's like, why I loved going there, is because, dude, you can go exactly, dude. I'm paying like $15 for a fucking sandwich, or a combo
with, like,
or whatever.
Their new menu, bro. Like their new menu up.
Oh, dude,
I don't
even do that shit. I still get the same. I've gotten the same thing since I first went there, and it hasn't changed.
Is that cold cut trio or whatever?
No, dude, spicy Italian, dude.
Ah, okay.
That's the only thing I have ever gotten going there. Maybe an Italian BMT, which is literally the same thing, but with ham. You know what I mean? But dude, I don't know what it is, dude, that their fucking garlic, or their garlic urban cheese bread or bread product or whatever they call it, because they can't technically call it bread. You get that, your fucking provolone cheese, your salami, your pepperoni, some lettuce, olives, pickles, yellow mustard, vinegar and oil, salt and pepper, dude. And then that's all you needed. But now, dude, you're just getting a sandwich with a fuck ton of lettuce on it and barely anything else.
Yeah, some dry, stale ass bread. See, I'm a Jersey Mike's guy.
But it's so expensive.
I don't like Jersey Mike's at all, dude.
Dude, you know what's like really good though?
I think it is so just subs, like whatever, dude.
You guys ever had Firehouse subs? They might not be in California, but Sean, you might have. Have you ever had Firehouse subs?
We don't have one anywhere near us.
Okay, dude, they're legit. I will give them credit. They have like legit subs. Their stuff's good. Like I think it's good. Anyways,
I'm not a big Jimmy John's fan, man. I just don't.
It's not that good either. I don't think.
See, I've never done Jimmy John's.
Oh, not Jimmy John's. Jersey Mike's or whatever.
Yeah, I've never had Jersey Mike's. I've had Jimmy John's. I've had.
Well, see, here's
subs.
the thing about Jersey Mike's. I can't speak for any of the hot stuff. I've never tried the grill. At the end of the day, you technically can't fuck up a cold cut sandwich. You shouldn't be able to fuck up a cold cut sandwich, right?
People do it. Yes.
And the first mistake is shitty bread.
See, I actually like the Parmesan herb bread at Jersey's more than I like the one that Subway does.
I've never done that. I didn't know they had other breads. I thought it was just like one thing. I think it. Oh, let me double check and make sure I'm talking.
I think you really hate Jimmy John's and you've never had a Jersey Mike's.
Well, the thing is, they order sandwiches for work, and it's one of the spots I never go to.
Oh, and catering platters always suck too.
No, it's not. It's not that they literally just
each person gets placed an order. Oh, all right. I'm gonna say because when you do the catering platters from those places, it's always trash.
Oh, it's horrible at Subway too.
Yeah, well, I remember working for Target years ago, and they got one of the Subway platters, and dude, the fucking building stunk like fucking stale onions for 4 days after that.
Yeah, it is Jersey Mike's because they literally do like the box lunch combo where it's like you get chips, a soda, and the sandwich. But yeah, dude, I'm just not a fan of Jersey Mike's.
See,
dude.
Here's what I'm gonna bet.
You can't even get fucking mustard on your sandwich, bro.
Well, sure you can.
They won't put it on there.
All right,
it wasn't an option.
You have a shitty Jersey Mike's,
dude. Because I literally was looking on the fucking thing, and when you pick to put whatever you want on there, and there was no option for fucking mustard, dude.
Yeah, you have a shitty Jersey Mike's. That just sucks. I'm pretty sure you can put mustard in this one. I've never looked for it because I don't use it.
You don't use mustard?
No. Not in that application. Absolutely not.
I like you wouldn't have it on like a ham sandwich?
Absolutely not. No, I like good mustard. Place like that doesn't carry
mustard.
Good mustard.
To me, yellow mustard's legit. That's
the only mustard I like.
I don't fuck with that at all.
I don't like
hot mustard.
I'll do spicy browns.
I don't like a Dijon or any of that shit.
Dijon, fuck Dijon. I don't like
any of that shit.
I don't like yellow.
I'm not even that big of a fan of a honey mustard.
Nah, I don't really like honey mustard either. I'll eat it, I guess, but I'm not really a big fan. You guys want to know what's kind of painful, but also not really for after what I've been dealing with? Bros, I haven't ate in 48 hours and we're talking about food and I feel nothing. Isn't that crazy? I literally have not eaten a single thing in 48 hours and I feel nothing when we're talking about food, but I'm still excited to talk about food.
A hell of a fast right there.
Dude, honestly, it's obviously not intentional, but yeah, it's I love subs too. So you guys have had Quiznos, right? Obviously.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I remember when Quiznos first came to Canada, I was like, this is mid. This is middle of the road. This is not that great. Everybody's talking about how fucking awesome it is. And I remember trying and I'm like, this is not that great. And
I know.
They disappeared. Right? They disappeared in Ontario. They basically all went out of business after 5-7 years of being here. But yeah, I moved to PEI. In Charlottetown, there's a fucking Quiznos. I have not went there because I want to maybe go to just be yeah, dude, this is shit. I remember not liking it and it's still not good. But also I'm kind of nervous because I'm what happens if I like it now?
So
You know what I mean?
Have you actually seen people go in it and eat food there?
It's still open. It's been open. I'm assuming, yeah. I've never seen anybody go in. No, but I've not watched them.
Because I'm starting to wonder if it's a fucking drug front or something.
I know. Like, they're all done by you too. There's no more Quiznos.
Well, because I haven't seen a Quiznos in the last 15 years, probably.
Dude, remember Blimpies?
Yeah, I haven't seen a Blimpies in fucking since malls all died.
Dude, they actually had one of those at my university in like one of the buildings.
I just noticed though, Sean, I guess you can get mustard at Jersey Mike's, but for some reason on the fucking papers they gave us to fucking pick our sandwiches, those options weren't on it. So hopefully it comes with like at least a packet of something.
Right?
Otherwise, that's going to be a fucking dry
ass
little
yellow mustard fucking package.
I hope so, bro. Because otherwise, that's going to be a fucking shitty sandwich.
Yeah,
I already not going to like it.
Yeah,
no.
That's where I would get away with it. But I would be pissed too. Like, dude, there's like 90% of sandwiches I want mustard on that bitch. Like yellow.
I did get some vinegar and oil on it though, so at least there's that.
Oh, see, I wouldn't do that. You want to know why? Because by the time I fucking eat that bitch, it's going to be soggy, and I'll be like, nah, I'm doing it.
Because I'm a big hots guy, so like if I get like a lot of the hots, they're already wet.
Yeah, I don't do a hot sandwich really.
Like, dude, there's a little mom and pop shop out here called Stracco's. Like, if you guys are ever out here to like kick it, I'll take you guys to Stracco's. This might be the best Italian sub anywhere in my area that I've ever eaten.
Dude, I love a good Italian sub though, bro.
Again, like it shouldn't even be possible to fuck up a cold cut sandwich, but when someone does it right and can execute something so simple in such a way that it actually makes you stop and go, what the fuck? How is this good? Like, that's amazing. And I think Stracco's comes pretty damn close to that. Like, yeah, everybody's looking to be their own judge on it, right? Because like food is subjective to taste, but I swear, in my opinion, it might be the best Italian sub I have access to in my general area.
Can you tell me, like, what does an Italian sub mean?
So Italian
it's just got Italian meats on it.
Like mortadella, capicola, salami, pepperoni. In some cases, that's usually mostly it. Prosciutto sometimes if you're at a higher end place. But prosciutto's
I probably wouldn't order that.
Your most standard Italian sandwich though is going to have a salami and maybe like a pepperoni. Like if you're like in like generic spots, but like if you go to a good spot like Sean's talking about, they'll have like the capicola and like maybe like the other options and stuff like that too.
Good prosciutto.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I've always been a big fan of like salami sandwiches because I used to eat them when I was a kid all the time. You know what I mean? Shit, I would just eat salami out the pack, bro.
Oh yeah.
You know
well, because all a salami is like a differently flavored pepperoni.
Yeah. And dude, I'm like I'll fuck up some pepperoni too.
Yeah,
bro. You know
bro.
what I mean?
I bought some high end pepperoni, like the Dietz and Watson jammies.
Dude, pepperoni's fire.
Dude, that was some crazy pepperoni. Crazy. And I bought the huge ones.
Have you ever thrown some eggs in the morning, bro? Scramble up some eggs with some pepperoni, dude.
You ever make pizza eggs, pizza omelets and shit?
Oh fuck, all day, bro. Even with mozzarella cheese.
Yeah, no little pepperoni, mozzarella in there, and then like when it's all done, just a little bit of like red sauce on it.
I don't think I've ever done that, but I'll put on like chili sauce. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the Heinz chili sauce. It's like kind of like
I do. It's
like salsa almost. Like I don't even know how to.
The chili sauce is weird because, like, to me, it reminds me a lot of cocktail sauce, but with something missing.
Yeah, the horseradish probably. Isn't that what cocktail sauce has? Like the horseradish? Isn't that what makes it like?
I think that's a tartar sauce.
No, tartar sauce is like mayo.
Either way, I didn't do cocktail sauce or fucking tartar sauce or the chili sauce.
Cocktail sauce is like a tomatoey vibe sauce that has fucking
I don't like it.
Horseradish in it. So it's got like that zip.
Yeah, see, I fuck with horseradish. So maybe
to me, cocktail sauce is shrimp sauce. That's what I call it.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're the same thing. I think they are, but they are. Definitely has horseradish.
Dude, that light next to your eye right now, Chris, is kind of making me nervous, bro. Because it's like, for me, it's just like, fuck, dude, that's gotta hurt when you like look into it. It's like, oh,
actually, I'm not even noticing it at all. But it does make me feel like the Terminator.
For sure, dude. Or like you got like a fucking scouter on from Dragon Ball Z. And they're like checking power. His level's over 9,000.
Or there's just an assassin out there.
Yeah.
And they got really good because
or someone's just fucking locking in.
Oh, actually, okay. So just on the front of food, I don't know how we got here, but we
started off there, dude.
So in PEI, right, there was like this thing that was going on. I didn't have a single one of these, by the way, so don't ask. But they had like some crazy burger month or some shit, and there's like restaurants from like all over the province. They were like making specialty burgers for people to go do on like a burger tour, and there's like 100 restaurants that were like doing this shit, and like there was like awards and like people doing like fucking massive write-ups on all these like burgers and shit. And I was reading about some of these burgers. I don't remember a single one, so don't ask me. But yeah, I know I'm probably shouldn't even have brought it up. But like ultimately, next year when it happens, I will be going on.
Dude, you have
because
to.
It kind of happened like when I didn't have any time. I couldn't do fucking.
Yeah, you have to go in and report back.
I at least have like 3 or 4. You know, like maybe I'll go.
Maybe 5.
Yeah. Well, I might. There's a chance that I might have a partner. You know, I might make some friends in that time. So
yeah, dude.
Rather than me going by myself, and like I'm not gonna go. I'm not like, you know what I mean. I'm just like
I would.
I wonder too. Like
it's not me.
In a burger tour like that with that many people participating, do they serve you like a full size burger, or do they just like cut a burger like wedge out? Like
no. It's like it'd be like this. Like come on down to Pat's Hamburgers and Fries. And try our special burger this month. It's like a fucking 5 patty with like 8 pieces of bacon and onion rings, whatever. And then you could go to some other place and they might have like,
dude, I bet up
half
there
ground beef and half ground pork with fucking female bacon and I don't know, it's just like their specialty burger.
Dude, I imagine you can get some pretty crazy shit up there. Like, dude, I wonder if they make elk burgers up there for that.
Well, they might, but maybe not here. Like this is like this island doesn't even have deers on it, bro. Or bears or any of that shit. So you wouldn't have. You could have some like imported stuff. Dude, it's a little fucking island, bro.
that would be really expensive.
We're lucky we have cows.
Yeah, like.
But still, dude, for that time, like if you're doing an event like that, you know you're gonna have fucking foot traffic and people are gonna be coming in trying shit. So that's probably the time to do something like that.
I mean,
that would be the time you know what I mean?
Make a statement.
It's going to be a thing that's not going to be there all the time. You do it for that short period, that window, and you could probably make a little bit of extra cheddar as well as, you know, try out some different culinary.
Do wild game burgers or whatever. Yeah, get some all sorts.
Like, dude, have you ever had a bison burger, bro?
Oh, please. Fuck yeah,
so good,
dude. How do you make beef taste better? Bison.
Dude, so good.
Unreal.
I don't know.
Have you ever had one? A bison burger?
I've tried it and it's horrible. I don't like it.
What?
I tried like bison. I tried fucking something else.
Tell us, how did you try bison? Like the experience. Like how did that come about?
I've tried like bison burgers. I've tried like some other bison things. There used to be this like bison farm, some sort of shit, whatever around me. And my buddy loved it. And we would go there and he would like, he's like, all right, Chris, well, here's the deal. He's like, we'll make some hamburgers. He's like, you don't like their hamburgers. We'll make some hamburgers and like, we'll use like 50% beef and 50% bison. And he's like, well, we'll like go on like online and find recipes and shit. Bro, I fucking hate it. I did not like the consistency is different. I don't care who you are. Like, it's not the same. And so if you're used to eating a hamburger your entire fucking life and like you try something different, it's fucking different. And I did not like it one bit.
Okay. So I just want to ask this next question in follow up to all that. Do you like this person's cooking otherwise?
Yeah, no, they're pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. Because I
was a part of it too, Sean. Like, it's like I like my cooking and like I was a part of it and like I made it up like the way that I thought, but it was that introduction of that meat. It was just, I didn't like it at all.
All right. More bison for us.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying it's dog shit. I'm just saying that it ain't for me.
Yeah. No, because one of the things I learned with my wife is that there were a lot of foods that she didn't like originally, and it was just down to preparation, right? But yeah, from what you're describing, like it's not a preparation issue. You genuinely just don't enjoy the meat.
Yeah,
a lot of that's
different.
A lot of things are like that for me too. Like there are some things that I normally would not eat, but there are occasions where I might eat them based on how they're prepared or how they're done. You know what I'm saying? Because like there's some things if it's not cooked right, dude, you there's no saving it. You know what I mean? Like turkey, for instance, I don't like an oven roasted turkey. I just don't think it comes out well that way. It just not my thing. It always seems too dry. Even if it is moist to other people's standards, it's too dry for me. But if you fucking smoke that shit or deep fry it, something different happens to it where all the juices get sealed in and it's so much more flavorful and just juicy and tender that I'll actually eat turkey. But if you're just going to oven roast a turkey and serve me that, I'm not going to be really into it. Or if that's on the menu, I'll pass. But maybe if I've seen like deep fried or, smoked turkey, I might give it a shot. You know what I'm saying?
I don't love turkey. I've actually never had it smoked or deep fried.
Dude, it'll change your life.
A hot turkey sandwich, I'll fuck with that every day.
I don't even, dude, back to the cold cuts. I hate fucking turkey sandwiches.
Oh, me too. They're disgusting. But no, I'm talking about like even you get white meat or dark meat, right?
Yeah,
leftovers, and then you put it in a fry pan, and then you put gravy in that fry pan. You let it like simmer and shit, and then I like take all that stuff and I put it on like some bread on a plate. I'll fuck with that every single time because it's not dry anymore. It's not dry at all anymore, and it's good to me.
You see, like you talk about that, like that joint Stracco's I was talking about earlier. They do what they call the Pilgrim, and it's like a Thanksgiving style sandwich, and it's literally they take the meat, they simmer it in some gravy, they put that in the roll, and then they mix in some stuffing and a little bit of cranberry sauce.
Yeah, fuck cranberry, but the stuffing I'll fuck with that.
But like. I always find it funny, right? Because you're just putting bread inside of bread. Because stuffing in and of itself is breadcrumb, basically, that you've rehydrated and turned into stuffing. And then you're just putting that into a sandwich. So you're putting bread inside of bread. And I always found that weird.
Carbs.
That's it. It's just carbs on carbs, man. But I still like it. Still love it. It's like eating bread with pasta. You're already eating the carbs. Fuck it. Just send me some more carbs. Send me to a coma.
It's all dependent on what kind of pasta you're eating, though, dude. Because if you get some really good, like artisanal, pasta that's made with, the unenriched flour, like, artisanal, like Italian flour, it's not going to affect you the same way, dude. It's just because of all the fucking extra bullshit we have in our fucking flour and our pastas and stuff here is why it makes you feel so fucking shitty.
It's more than that. I mean, it's also the fact that like we as people tend to way over consume beyond what we need, and that increases the tryptophan, which in turn puts us in a food coma. That's another big factor too. But I learned something interesting. Speaking of like artisanal pasta, if you're looking to buy better pasta and get higher quality pasta, a couple things I learned to look for. One of them was you want to examine the pasta in the package and look for pores in the actual pasta noodle because they'll absorb more of the sauce when you mix them. But the other really interesting one, this plays into how you feel after the meal, is protein per 100 grams. So 1 cup of pasta is typically 100 grams of pasta. You want to aim for higher protein values in your pasta, and your stomach will actually feel better than when you have the lower proteins. And it's due to
because you probably get fuller faster too, because you feel more satiated due to the protein intake.
And the branched chain amino acids and everything else that comes out of that higher protein value. Exactly. But yeah, really, really interesting. And so I started paying attention to that. And like, obviously, like your store brand pastas, they're into like 10 and 12 grams. If you can get into like 15, 16 and higher grams, you will have a much better pasta experience. It'll boil better. It'll have a better texture, and you'll feel better after eating it. And was a really cool factoid to learn.
I like that.
Oh, so we don't really have enough time to dive super deep into this, but I just kind of want to bring it up and give you guys just real quick.
Oh yeah,
notes.
you got to tell us about this Terrance Howard stuff,
dude. If any of you listening have seen this, then you already know the mind blowing conversation that occurred between Terrance Howard and Joe Rogan.
Dude, I caught a few clips of it today already.
It's a 3-hour long podcast where Terrance Howard kind of blows my mind, or not only mine but Joe's mind, on the fact that he thinks he's pretty much found alternative, science and stuff that like kind of disproves our original thoughts on practically everything in existence, which is fucking nutty, dude, because it comes down to the scientific level, to the physics level, to even out into space, is what this entire conversation encompasses. To where he's pretty much saying that the periodic table that we know so well, the fucking chart that's like real boxy and it's color coded and all this stuff, he says that we're looking at it completely wrong, and has like developed like not really, he didn't really, like, he kind of took ideas from another guy, Walter Russell, I believe.
Yeah, I actually, this was one of the clips I caught that really was interesting.
What they think is the periodic table kind of works as a spiral. So like, say, here, I'll take this rag. When you take a rag and you wrap it around your hand and then you go for another wrap and then it continues to expand outwards. He says not only does he think the periodic table works like that, but the entire universe works like this, because he thinks that, everything is based off of waves, and, there's got to be equality. So for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, like breathing in and breathing out. That was like his big like point that he kept bringing up, he's like, when have you ever breathed in twice and never breathed out? He's like, never. Because every time you take a breath in, eventually you have to breathe out. And he's like, that's pretty much how he thinks the entire fucking universe was kind of built off of. And dude, it's crazy because he gets into like, like I said, the periodic table and how it like kind of unfurls outward, and how each element on the periodic table isn't always necessarily that same element. At some points it could expand or contract, and through that end up becoming a different element based off of frequencies.
Yeah, he's talking about his version of a periodic table that he's talking about is based on the frequency that those molecules vibrate at, whereas our standard periodic table is broken down by atomic weight. And it is really interesting because, honestly, I've had some experiences with psychedelics that led me down a similar understanding with this spiraling out concept. And
I skipped over probably the best part, though, because it starts off the first 5 minutes, and Joe asked him, he's like, so how did you get to this point with all this stuff that you're bringing to me? He's like, well, Joe, I don't think I came to be quite like everybody else. He asked Joe, he's like, let me ask you what your first memory is that you can think back to. And then Joe's like, dude, honestly, I don't know. He's like, I can't think of it. He's like, well, my earliest memory is kind of like when you're dreaming and you're falling, that feeling. But when I woke up in my mother's womb. Like, so he's pretty much saying that he remembers appearing in his mother's womb, being there for 6 months through the process of her being pregnant, remembers being born, all these different things. And like, since that time, he's known that like when he's asleep, that like he can affect his dreams because he can realize that, oh, I'm asleep sort of thing. And that's continued on through his life. And at this period, this 6 month period, he says that he would have these dreams of this friend that showed him this palace that had all of this information that he's bringing to the table, that, you know, with like the flower of life and how, you know, and telling him that people are that we've looked at it wrong, and that we need to, instead of, you know, because the way that modern science looks at everything is linearly in a straight line 2D situation. And in there's nothing in the universe that is straight. There's no straight lines. Because even if you take something that looks straight to your eye and look at it underneath a microscope, it's got all these little waves and bumps that create this line. And he's saying that if, you know, based off that, we have looked at this flower of life, which is like the oldest symbol in the known history.
This tattoo.
Yeah, that here, right there.
This pattern, the flower of life.
And they took that and ended up coming up with these, I can't remember what they're called, but like they're these specific shapes that all consist of straight lines. And that's pretty much what they've based everything we know off of, are these straight lines. And pretty much what Terrance Howard's done is he's looked at it completely differently and just kind of taking the flower apart into its different pieces and found out that it's more like bubbles touching each other. So like for that, you've got the negative space where the bubbles can't touch, and then you have the space where they all meet. And those two different spaces represent electricity and magnetism. Electricity being the conductive, the inhale, and magnetism being the exhale, or the reactive, the radiation. So everything that we know as far as magnetism goes, everybody thinks magnetism means to attract, when in reality, it means to push away, because to magnify means to make bigger. So with that being said, it's not necessarily gravity that makes everything that we know on Earth work, or, you know, what pulls us to the Earth. It's actually the electricity bringing us to Earth. And then like, that's why, like, if you grab a balloon and you rub it against your head or whatever and get it real staticky and put it above like some sand or something, you'll see the dust attract to the balloon. That's because the electrical current is more powerful than the gravitational pull, or so-called gravitational pull. Dude, anyways, like, dude, not only does he break all this shit down and kind of spit off some kind of crazy ideas, but then he goes back and he shows you the proof that he's found. Dude, did you know this dude, Terrance Howard, Oscar award-winning actor, has 97 patents? And one of them being the patent that all VR and AR is based off of. So all this VR and virtual reality and augmented reality technology that exists is all based off of his original patent.
See, I find it interesting because, like, everything that, like, you're telling me and my knowledge of esoteric
it makes sense,
stuff,
Sean. It
like,
makes sense.
My knowledge of esoteric wisdom, like, everything he's talking about resonates with other things.
You really need to watch the whole thing, Sean.
The palace that he's talking about is the Hall of Records. The Hall of Records is a totally accessible place that every single human being has.
This is the crazy part,
access.
Sean. You know what I talked about? How he said he had a friend that showed him to this palace and showed him the flower of life and told him that we're looking at it wrong. He said he can never see the face, but he knew the voice. And then he's like, you know what that voice was? He's like, it's my voice now. So it's like, he says, so it was like my future self was talking to, you know, my present self. Well, and he's like, he thinking that this is something that he was supposed to have done in a previous life. but never got a chance to. And so now since birth, he's had this yearning to get this information out because it's something that he feels that the earth needs at this time because we're literally destroying itself.
It's interesting because like a lot of what he's talking about has been described by Thoth in the Emerald Tablets. The Emerald Tablets are, a mystic piece of literature where the gods had inscribed this information into Emerald Tablets. And what's so interesting is that so much of the world and our understanding of how things work and what we've got is based around this obfuscation of that truth. So there are people who have gone really in depth and written some interesting books on a lot of this topic, but it talks about how in that whole energetic aspect, right? Like if we think about it like this, Big Bang happened, boom. Now everything in existence has the ability, all the atoms to explode and spread all over the world or in infinite space. We're all made of that. That electrical energy causes those atoms to combine, create matter. Matter becomes eventually human beings on planets, etc., etc. Like
it's crazy because he kind of gets into that because he talks about like how our galaxies pretty much formed, and it was all formed from the sun itself. And at some point in our history, Mars was in the exact same spot we are in the solar system, and they were in the Goldilocks zone. And at some point we are going to be where Mars is because we are slowly drifting. It's like 0.6 something inches or whatever a year or some shit. But anyways, so like he's saying that's pretty much how it goes. Is everything's birthed from the center of whatever star the galaxy is centered around. And eventually that matter drifts off, and due to lack of pressure, things are able to expand because the closer to the sun you are, the more pressure you're under. And that's why I think Venus or whatever planet's closer, Mercury. That's why Mercury is so fucking hot and stuff because it's under so much fucking pressure.
So you got to think the amount of electrical
and they think space is a void, bro. That's the crazy part. Is modern science thinks of space as a void and doesn't realize that it doesn't continuously reach out. Like eventually, it hits something and comes back, and those other somethings are other galaxies because they from each center there's a pulse that a wave that goes out, and at some point it's got to hit something and it comes back. And you know what I mean?
That leads to multiverse theory, which is this whole aspect that at some point the entire spatial energy exhausts and bounces back and creates this single bubble back to that flower of life where these other dimensional aspects exist outside, but sometimes intrude when the two bubbles overlap.
Because he kind of even says, he's like, because, you think about this. He's like, so if this is happening here, what's to say that there isn't, a planet out there around in another star in its Goldilocks zone? At a certain time of the year, this is that analogy he makes. At a certain time of the year, apples start growing on trees and the trees appling. He's like, at a certain point, the planets be peopling.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever that planet's people look like.
Yeah. He said some sort of humanoid, creature has to develop.
Some
who's
sentient
to say that
life. Yeah.
Who's to say that there wasn't any on Mars at some point? And then after it's drifted off, because he even got to the whole theory. He's like, well, yeah, once you get out of that Goldilocks zone, the only way that you can survive is to go underground to recreate the pressure that you were under in that space, because once you get further away from the Earth, the nitrogen expands so much that it doesn't create oxygen anymore. So then you have to go further and further into Earth, and when you start going underground, what's happening? Graying of the skin, larging of the eyes. You know what I mean? He's like, and that's kind of maybe where people think you're getting these, alien creature. And like, dude, the more this guy talks, like he's putting like things together. Like I said, I don't know if I 100% believe him, but he's definitely got me thinking, bro.
I'll say this for people who are extremely skeptical. You're going to listen to Terrance Howard talk, and you're going to think, this dude is off the deep end. But if you approach it with an open mind.
But dude, the thing about it is he's so eloquent when he speaks. He's so researched. He has...
Well, that's it. He can connect dots really well. And that's the thing. Like, I've listened to
it. I have to listen to it because, like, I'm definitely one of those people, like, I don't really believe a lot of that stuff, especially when, like, the amount of things that have to change everything, like, even down to, like, the time of evolution. Like, we have thousands of years of, like, recorded things, and the evolution in humans is, like, so minuscule in, like, a couple thousand years that for those things to happen, like, you're talking about, like, hundreds and hundreds of millions of years. So, like, it's hard for me to... I'm talking
about billions and trillions of years for a lot of these things to happen.
Years, right? And it's like, how can one person kind of come to those conclusions? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that he's wrong. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be an interesting listen or that he might not bring up good points, right? I'm just saying that, like, for me, like, knowing how things work, like, man, that's like one hell of a fucking broken telephone.
Do we even know if we know how things work? That's where he's got me thinking. Is, you know, if this is how this guy thinks things work, and he's got a lot of things that kind of, you know, not necessarily 100% prove, but he's got things that definitely make me think there's more to this than him just saying it. Because, dude, he's also built technologies and things. Like, he's developed this sort of, I think he calls it a linchpin. And it's like this, like, crazy looking, like, almost like a drone looking thing. You know what I mean? And it's got all these different propellers on it, but it is literally able to fly and spin around its own center in any direction whatsoever, and can couple together with multiple other ones without affecting any other flight. He says that he's developed engines that literally are like power systems that literally are limitless. And he has patents for all these things already. And he's like, I just wanted to go through and get all these patents and things together first, so that when I came out to talk about it, I can be like, here it is. Here it is. You know what I mean? So it's like, even though a lot of it is obviously, you know, just, you know, talk at this point, because, you know, we haven't seen much, but like the things that he shows, dude, makes me think that there's definitely a lot more that we need to look into what he's talking about than just blowing it off and thinking it's some bullshit. Because everybody in the past that at some point, you know, thought was some bullshit ended up, like, dude, you think people thought fucking Plato was fucking the genius he is at the point he was saying things that he was saying about, like, the fucking universe and shit?
I mean,
who knows?
Think of it like this, right? History is always written from the perspective of the victor. How many times has the history that we all know been rewritten?
Well, not only that, bro, a big portion of, like, the way that, like, modern science and things work were based off of the way that the church decided to run, the Catholic Church decided to run things at a certain time, because they were really set on this thing of everything being based off of straight lines, because, you know, the cross and those sorts of things. And they would go to, like, these different places, and literally, why do you think they burned all of their historical documents and anything that they had when they went to these places and decimated them? Because they wanted their science to be the only science that existed. You know what I mean?
No, but like what you're saying is, like, it's not to be heretical, but, like, this is examples of this are, like, how pagan traditions are still used today in Christian celebrations. For example, the Easter Bunny. Easter is a pagan goddess who is celebrated in springtime for the birth of spring. And that got morphed into the Easter bunny. The Christmas tree was a pagan symbol. The act of decorating the tree, it was all to celebrate the gods of nature and the winter solstice. So like these were all things that they were like, well, here, we're going to take these aspects of your culture and we're going to work them in so that you can just now be part of our fold. And so 100%, this has happened all through history where, you know, these reigning empires changed all of history and got rid of the things that said otherwise.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people that he even like quotes and stuff like from like even earlier on in history that had some of the same similar ideas he had eventually either were completely shunned and, you know, just completely just not even given the time of day with whatever they're saying, or at some points they even killed them.
Oh, 100%. That was heresy to dabble in sciences, alchemy, things that would otherwise disprove or question the authority of the church in those eras of history were considered heretics, which meant beheading, burn them at the stake. Like
one of the last things Albert Einstein said, back to the guy that created, this like kind of circular wave periodic table is he ended up reading Walter Russell's, I think that's his name, book towards the end of his life. And one of the things that he said before he passed was, I wish I would have spent more time reading Walter Russell's work. Because even he thought there was more to this than what we think.
There's a lot to be had when we start diving.
There's a lot to like
hole.
really fucking unpack in this conversation. Like I said, if you have the time to spare 3 hours, it's worth. I've listened to it twice. I literally listened to it again today just so I can kind of remember some of the key talking points and just kind of bring them up to you guys. But dude,
I wish I had the time at work to just be able to put it on, because that's obviously the most ideal place and opportunity to be able to just throw a podcast on.
I'm so glad I have headphones, dude.
But like, I'm on the phone all day. I'm doing too many things to be able to listen to podcasts now. So like, I can't do it. Dude, if this was my old job as the parts guy, I could have probably put the whole 3 hours down without even being interrupted. Oh, man.
I do recommend people just giving it a listen, not necessarily saying you have to believe what he's saying.
Just approach what he has to say with an open mind, for sure. Because I haven't watched this podcast. I've seen a couple clips of it, but I've watched other interviews he's done with people where he gets into a lot of the same subject matter. And, some people are like, Terrance Howard, you talk about that guy from Empire? Like, yes. And I feel literally who we're talking about. I
feel like that's kind of where like he kind of gets the shit end of the stick, is because since he is famous for being, an actor, and, we know his face and his voice from him doing all these different parts over the years, that we think that's all he can do.
Or even more, that he's just a one-dimensional person who only cares about acting. Like,
yeah.
This is a man who's clearly got deep interests. And if nothing else, again, like Joe Rogan does in a podcast, right? Just approach it with an open mind. Just allow your own natural curiosity to guide and take what he has to say.
Here's the thing, like even Joe himself, I don't necessarily know if Joe believes absolutely everything he was saying. But he's saying, if there is any truth to this is something that we need to take more seriously. Because if what he is saying is true, it could literally change everything we know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just imagine that if some of what Terrance Howard is proposing is possible, that opens our understanding of our own human consciousness to a whole new level. The leaps and bounds people could make from that deep level of understanding would be amazing. Some of, to dive into this like conspiracy side of things a little bit, some of what people think that the Masons know is some of what he's talking about. So if that's something that you're curious about, well, boom, there it is. The whole sacred geometry, the way that energy works, the chakras, the human energy system, there's too many things that actually work for this stuff to not at least somewhat have validity, right? Like chakras and Reiki, we've seen evidence that it can work, and people have tried to do studies on it and gotten, actual results. So there's something to it. And I think as people, it benefits us to allow ourselves to just explore the possibility, because we might be very surprised what we learn. We talked about meditation recently and how to start meditation. Some of the things that Terrance Howard's talking about, meditation can play into that. You can control that breathing. You can control the energy. You can control the vibration in your body. Some people will say that, the master yogis that can transcend and do all those things, they do that because they're able to vibrate at different frequencies and transcend planes.
Dude, that gets to like a whole fucking point of travel, dude. Because if you could figure out a way to decouple yourself from the earth, you're able to travel as fast as the earth is spinning or the earth is moving. So if you decouple, like literally, like with that being said, it's like completing or having the complete opposite frequency of the earth. And at that point, the earth literally pushes you away. It says that's possibly how some of these UAPs that we see may operate, because with that, you're not going to be affected by any G forces.
That's an interesting point. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, like those like that type of shit just kind of gets my mind kind of thinking, because like if that is true, then he might be able to figure out a way to travel to different fucking galaxies just by changing the frequency of whatever ship you're in. And dude, think about how fucking crazy that could be, dude. Instead of taking the fucking years or whatever it may take to get to fucking Mars.
It's just...
Yeah. Just tap into the frequency, bro.
Yeah.
And then off you go.
I mean, it stands to reason. Like, there have been countless great minds who have always said that, like, they never came up with the great ideas. They were there and they just received them.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of that whole notion of tuning in to the right frequency to be able to gain access to knowledge, to be able to perform, great experiences. I mean, shit. We have documented proof that the CIA has put extensive money into the study of people with psychic abilities and the ability to control people with sound frequencies. So frequencies have a lot to do with all matter. And I've been a firm believer since I was a young man, after reading a book that described it as, if you could tune yourself to the correct frequency, you could walk through walls. Because if you can tune your body to the frequency of that solid object, you are now that same solid object, and you can pass through it. And it always kept my mind open to this notion that, what if that is possible? What if you can vibrate your body at a specific frequency to make the chair you're sitting in become liquid?
Yeah, that's how the Flash does it.
To make the floor be something you can swim in. Like, to just have your body vibrate at the correct frequency to do these things. I think it's plausible. And I want it to be true because, dude, the implications of that are incredible.
Hey, man, I'm just looking for fucking different things to fucking pique my interest, bro. And this is just something that kind of fucking caught my eye. And I'm like, because I had the same thought everybody's probably thinking hearing me talk about this. Terrance Howard, what the fuck does he know about this shit?
Yeah.
Apparently a fucking lot, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he's the kind of person that makes sense. He's like made money. He can probably like run with shit. He's probably got to like go back to school and like learn about shit that really interested him for like.
Well, dude, apparently
not free, but
he's
like,
been like super smart since like a young age. You know what I mean? And he's gone to like pretty prestigious colleges. Not only that, dude,
he's got like honorary doctorates and shit. Like,
yeah,
he's obviously like a pretty educated dude.
Yeah. But dude, when you hear him like talk about things and him able to quote, other scientists and scholars from, past to present, and just the way that he's even talking about the technologies and things that he's developed, it's just like, sounds like a guy that knows what the fuck he's talking about. You know what I mean? Not necessarily, like we've said from the beginning, not necessarily saying that what he's saying is 100% fact. You know what I mean? But if it is, that's just kind of where I keep going. But if it is,
like it's one of those, it is really worth just considering for the fun of it.
Even if there's just like small, minute pieces of it that are true. You know what I mean? Not necessarily, the crazy, fucking universal whatever, but even if just like his means of propulsion and energy and those types of things end up being true, that could fucking change everything. Because look what, like, one of his first ever patents literally built the entire VR world. And he says if they really want to know, he can tell them how it really works. Some of the shit he says is kind of funny, dude, because it's kind of like, because he's saying like, even at one point before he met his wife, he was like super mad and angry and this sort of stuff. And he said he had all this knowledge already. And he was at the point where he was about to end mankind. He's like, but then I met my wife and she fixed me. So like, there's some parts that kind of make you like, all right, this dude's a little whack, but I don't know, man. It was just interesting as fuck to me. And I just wanted to talk to you guys about it because I felt like it was kind of fucking wild.
Yeah, I need to just fucking like do something and just put that show on for the few hours because like I got to hear the whole thing. Like
Dude, piece it out. You know what I mean? If you have to.
Like I said, I've heard other interviews with him. I know about a lot of things that he's talking about from my reading into esoteric subjects. He's got a strong understanding of those subjects. So what I have known to be agreed truth on those matters, he also knows. So I am inclined to even listen in his more out there type of ideas for the simple fact that some of that stuff he's talking about, I have known to be the agreed truth. And that's how I'll describe it, the agreed truth. Because again, a lot of that stuff doesn't get true scientific research, right? Like it's all considered like fringe and pseudo science stuff. So it doesn't get any kind of actual funding for real research. It has to come out of the pockets of people who really believe in it.
Dude, and how does all science start? As a fucking theory.
And that's it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how the scientific method works. You have a theory, you try to disprove it, and if all your efforts to disprove it, turn out...
I feel like that's kind of what he's been doing, dude, is he's been testing his fucking knowledge on these, like these linchpins and his like I forgot what tech fucking something else, like these shapes that he's created that he thinks pretty much explain, one representing the electric and one representing the magnetic, and the push and pull and how they connect and how you could take these pieces and put them together and they create perfectly symmetrical shapes and then you can put those together and they create even, bigger stuff, but you can also break them down into all this different stuff. It's wild, dude.
Gotta keep running with the spiral, friends. It's that Fibonacci sequence. That Fibonacci, man, that is a beautiful, perfect spiral.
It just makes sense, dude.
And that's the thing, right? Like when you look at nature, pine cones, that swirl in a pine cone, that's Fibonacci. The way that it starts so small and then continues to replicate bigger and bigger and bigger all the way out. That's the Fibonacci sequence. Like
it's replicated everywhere in nature.
Yeah, countless plants when they grow. That's how they grow. They all have that spiral out. As far as
I've heard people using like that in charting like coins and shit, the Fibonacci. But I have no idea. Like I can't read charts. I just like see green and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy it. It's going up.
Yeah. So
there's like a Fibonacci line or something. And I'm like, what the fuck?
So the Fibonacci sequence is basically you're adding these different numbers up, and then they continue to, in a perfect proportion, grow up into the spiral as the spiral's out. So if we pull up a Fibonacci sequence and we have it charted as an actual spiral on like a graph, this is what the number sequence draws out like. So as you can see, we start out small down here, and then as we continue to spiral out, we get these perfect proportions. It's believed that a lot of the ancient masons and things, people who built pyramids and the ancient structures of the Mayans, stuff like that, that they had a basic understanding of a Fibonacci sequence to be able to scale these things the way that they needed to. But yeah, like perfect examples of a Fibonacci throughout nature. As I mentioned, like the pine cone and everything, there's a nautilus shell there, the way that storms work, the way that galaxies form, they're all Fibonacci sequences. All these spirals, they're all the Fibonacci sequence.
It's a constant
through nature. All the way through nature.
Because there are no straight lines in nature, Sean.
It's a beautiful thing. It's even played out. We can in trees, so we can show you the way that trees branch. But it's a reverse spiral. So it starts out at its largest point at the base of the trunk, and then as it branches out, it continues in a Fibonacci sequence. And again, that's how nature will work. Now, what's really cool about the Fibonacci sequence, right? Look what happens as we continue to double the Fibonaccis over and over and over again in multiple dimensions.
Makes shapes.
So now we continue doing this beyond this point, and we get to a point where we basically start to create a whole new matter, a whole new dimension of something. And if we were to look at it in a three-dimensional model, we'd start to see how else that intertwines, because that's only a 2D image.
It's crazy. Speaking of that, bro, in that fucking interview with Terrance, he fucking shows this thing where him and one of his scientists, or programming buddies, use the same technology that physicists use to pretty much recreate Saturn with zero gravity. And they did it using his linchpin technology, which is literally just, I think it's 16 different vortexes, or like pretty much little tornadoes that are all connected and angled at 120 degrees, vertically and horizontally from each other. And if you literally let this go with natural physics and whatever happened, it literally recreated the planet Saturn.
A little mini Saturn in a box.
So like on the program, like when you just press play, all of a sudden you just see all these fucking vortexes just kind of like expand outward all the way out to the ring, dude. And it even recreates like the hexagon shape that's on top of Saturn. and they're able to do it without any gravity.
It's a crazy notion, right? Like, there's no gravity.
I don't
in
necessarily
space.
100% understand what that means.
Well, so
but it is crazy that they're able to pretty much literally recreate a planet.
I mean, he literally made his own little mini Big Bang at that point. Like, in that model,
well, I think he's pretty much saying he pretty much recreated the core of the planet. And doing so, that's pretty much what's the inside of this is these 16 different, vortexes or whatever he calls them, or his linchpins, I think is what he calls them, set to the perfect, angle. And it just so happens to work out that way.
All of the right repelling forces are creating the planet. It'd be an interesting, like
it was cool just to look at. Like I said, don't know what it means.
To go back to the notion that, like, how does a planet form? Like, if he's coming up with a hypothesis that can't be disproven, he may have figured out how a planet forms.
Or at least how
at least Saturn formed,
At least like
so, like, it's super, super intriguing. I love that as much as we know about science, we could turn it all on a dime tomorrow with a breakthrough.
And that's the whole thing, man.
Maybe, just maybe, the conspiracy theory is right. And when they turned the Large Hadron Collider on and they created a mini black hole, we slipped into another dimension. And
he says black holes don't exist.
Here we are,
Dude, I honestly kind of need to listen to it again, bro.
I love that there are people out here who are willing to talk about mind-blowing subjects.
Honestly,
like
as much hate as Joe Rogan gets from, certain people, you know what I mean? Like, the one thing I appreciate about his podcast is that he will literally sit down and have a conversation with somebody, and whether he is with them, against them, whatever, he just lets it be a conversation.
Yeah, it's just open-minded the whole time.
Yeah. Because even him, like, he's like, even his mind's being blown, and you could see, like, he's skeptical on certain things, but then you could see where his interest kind of gets piqued, but he's like, continue, like, expand, and this is probably one of the episodes where he's actually the most quiet, because Terrence is just like
going mind blower after mind blower, right?
And then pulling up videos and showing him these shapes that he's created by taking apart the flower of life, and how he could put them together in different orientations, and they create different things, and all this stuff. And
there's the Merkaba, and there's a few other things that can all be created out of it.
The ones you might be thinking of are the ones that all have straight lines.
Well, that's how you interconnect the different pieces is via the lines.
It's not how he does it.
Interesting. Yeah, because people pull the Kabbalic tree of life out of it. People pull the Merkaba. People pull.
Because with the straight lines, you don't account for any of the voids that are the empty space between any of it. He's like, and that's kind of the key. Like I said, dude, I really hope you get a chance to sit down and listen to it, Sean, because I'd like to hear your full opinion after consuming some of it. More of it.
I think the trick, right? The trick for me is that I'm going to have to play it at like 1.5 speed.
Yeah, you probably get away with that.
That way I can just like get it done faster. Then that would cut it down.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, right? So an hour and a half, and spend an hour doing tank maintenance down here. You burn that real fast.
Or no, that would mean if you did 2 times, it'd be an hour and a half.
Yeah, that'd be way too fast, probably.
Be 2 hours.
2 hours. It wouldn't be bad. I could easily burn an hour just doing tank maintenance down here. Shit.
There you go.
You know? Which needs to get done anyway.
That's how I've well, one day I consumed it. I literally sat here and got stoned and watched it, and it really blew my mind then because I was high as shit, and I was like, whoa! And then like I listened to it today while I was at work and really listened. And I was like, okay.
This just makes me miss, like, back in the day, before the advent of Twitch, when it was still Justin.tv, there used to be a channel on there called Down the Rabbit Hole. And I loved it because it would have like little documentaries about these different kinds of topics like this and aliens and, CIA stuff and all this just different kind of weird but intriguing kind of stuff. And it was fun because some of it you're like, this makes sense. And others you're like, dude, that's fucking far out there. I don't know. Do I really believe that, world leaders are lizard people? That's a hard sell for me. But you know what? There was some other weird stuff that I'm like, I could believe it. When you
think about how many things that we thought were conspiracies that end up coming out to being true.
Right,
the whole reason we went to Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin was a false flag.
Dude, how about I brought it up earlier, like the sonic weapons, we were using them in Vietnam. That's how long we've been using sonic weapons. We use it in riot control, for Christ's sakes. Like, they have, like, the fact that they can turn a specific frequency to the right pitch and the right decibel that it will literally make you sick to your stomach, that you want to vomit, that you have
brown note, dude.
Like, the
that
fact
brown note.
they can actually do these things is incredible. You can tune a frequency to a point with microwaves that you can stop people's hearts from miles away. Like, it's crazy what you can do with that technology.
Dude, he's saying he's got a patent for a gun that's pretty much a lightning gun.
I could believe that.
And it's got infinite power. He's like, and you can turn it up or down however much you want. And I was like, fucking shit, dude. He's like, yeah. He's like, wait. Joe's like, wait, like a lightning gun, like from Quake?
I know this. It's a good thing he's got a patent on it, because then nobody else can use it without his permission.
That's why he did it. That's why he's got the patent.
Because if that technology is fully legit and 100%, doable, then that is technology that should not end up in just anybody's hands.
And he's pretty smart too, because like he's built like a committee that helps like oversee all these different things. Where it's like, because he's like, I know myself. He's like, sometimes I get emotional and I make rash decisions. He's like, this way I don't have full control over these things. He's like, it's a committee. We have to come together and make these decisions, for how these things are utilized and those sorts of things. Which is smart. He's not like going full Bond villain and just trying to, take over the world.
Yeah, we have enough Bond villains in our world now. We don't need any more. We need more James Bonds. Poor George Lazenby. Yeah, see, no love for George Lazenby. Huh?
I have no idea who he is.
He's like he's the forgotten Bond. He's the one like nobody even cares about.
The only one I really know are Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan. What's the new guy?
Daniel Craig.
Yeah, Daniel Craig.
Yeah, George Lazenby, I think, got one Bond movie, maybe. I had to Google it real quick because I got to know exactly how many it was. But he's always the forgotten Bond.
Who is your favorite Bond, Chris?
Daniel Craig.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's the best one.
I thought he was pretty good too, bro. Not gonna lie.
He's like the most badass.
I feel like,
and like he's also the most, like, to me, he's like the most realistic womanizing person too. Like Pierce Brosnan, like, to me, just like seemed way too soft.
He just looked too much like a pretty boy to me. To be like,
he didn't really look like a womanizer that could actually do the stuff. And like Timothy Dalton, I don't know, I just never liked him. Sean Connery, I guess, was pretty good, but like it's so old that it's like,
it doesn't hold up.
How can you compete?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean.
Who do you think the next Bond will be?
I actually thought that I heard that it was going to be like somebody black, like Idris Elba or something.
That'd be sick.
It would be pretty cool.
Honestly, I don't really care.
I don't really.
I just want. I honestly, I would like to see like a different depiction.
Because I don't think that there'll be a Bond. There'll be a 007 though. Like that's
no.
It's like even in the newest one, right? The newest one, the other woman was 007 when he like retired. Oh, sorry if you haven't seen it. Have you seen the newest Daniel Craig movie?
No, it's cool.
Okay, well, anyways,
I don't.
He
remember.
like retires, and there's another 007, and it's a black woman. But then he comes back.
Have you seen it, Sean?
No, I
Do you care?
I haven't kept up with Bond.
He dies at the end, right?
Forever. I don't even remember, bro. I honestly don't remember.
Because I caught the end of a 007 movie when I went to go see Ira the other day, and he's like on this island and fucking missiles hit it and it just fucking blows the whole island up.
They don't show him dead, but yeah, like there's something that like he could very
he's
well
standing
die.
there when the fucking missiles hit and then all of a sudden clouds and he's gone.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the newest one.
Sorry for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. Spoilers. My bad.
It's been
out long enough, right? Like
yeah. But it was a good one. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was a good one. But yeah, he's my favorite Bond. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen because like I don't know if it'll be James Bond anymore. I think that it'll be just like
it has to be, dude.
But can it just be like 007?
No, dude, because the whole thing's Bond. It's James Bond. It's Bond.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Because it's his name hasn't changed all 7 other times.
Well, let's be honest.
I know, but it's like always like a British dude that's like the same age.
He's a
007 is a secret agent, and James Bond doesn't necessarily mean that's his real name. That's just 007, the agent.
It's his moniker,
alias.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
I guess his moniker is 007, and his alias.
007 is his rank because, like, if we go back to GoldenEye, which is one of the last ones I truly remember, Trevelyan is 006.
Oh, yo, Sean, you haven't seen like any of the
I haven't watched any of the Daniel Craig ones at all.
Bro, you're doing yourself a disservice. He's an amazing Bond. He's such a fucking badass good, dude. You should honestly watch him.
My whole thing is that like I just don't have it in me to sit and watch movies too often anymore.
Yeah, dude, it's like literally once a month. Watch
that's a bummer, movie, bro. So, I love, like Chris said, just getting at least one movie in a week.
I do watch Casino Royale. The World's Not Enough. What's the other one that he was in? The one that Adele does the thing. I don't know. I can't fucking remember. But like the newer ones is like one of them is Billie Eilish does the James Bond song. Another one's Adele does the James Bond song. But Daniel Craig's, I think he did 4. I'd watch any of them.
Yeah, they're all pretty good.
Yeah, he became Bond long after I kind of just stopped consuming most films.
Okay, well, they're the best James Bond movies, in my opinion. So if you ever have an inkling, I would suggest it.
Yeah, I was always a big fan of The Man with the Golden Gun. Like, I thought that was, a good era.
Skyfall. That's the Adele one. Skyfall. That movie, Skyfall. James Bond, Skyfall.
Dude, can I put you guys on to like a series of comedy specials to watch? They're free on YouTube. But have you guys ever heard of Ali Sadiq?
No.
The name's familiar.
Well, he's been in the game for a long time, but he's got this like series of specials called The Domino Effect. And it's like pretty much like stories about like his life and how the dominoes fell to lead him to where he's at, sort of thing. You know what I mean? But he's like, the best part, like, I don't even want to say it because it kind of ruins the experience, but super hilarious stuff. I watched the first one the other day. I'm going to get into the next two because I've came across them through all the different comedy podcasts I listen to. And dude, he's just funny as shit, dude. And he's just like kicked back as shit. Like when you think stand up, you think of someone's walking around. This guy's sitting on a chair on the stage, bro. And his guy's like arm up on the stool, but he's just sitting there just talk like it's like you're at the fucking barber shop or whatever, just like hearing fucking stories, but he's just fucking hilarious.
I mean,
and he's got a new one coming out on Father's Day, and it's the last installment of The Domino Effect. But dude, they're worth a listen, bro.
I'm in. I'm down for some good comedy. I don't know.
Have you ever seen the Stand Up on the Spot clips?
No.
It's this show that this comedian Jeremiah Watkins does, where he goes to like different comedy clubs and he puts like a show together of different comedians that literally come up on stage and the audience yells out suggestions at them, and they have to literally come up with bits on the spot for whatever the suggestion is and can't do any written material. Dude, that shit is fucking wild, bro. Because like some guys like are like on top of it, just getting it going, and then some other dudes are just like fucking like just can't come up with shit, but just start working off the crowd. Pretty sick.
Well, shit. I think it's a great suggestion too. So Stand Up on the Spot. Dig it. We'll have to look that up. We'll have to look at the Domino Effect. That sounds like a plan. And to all you out there who are, checking out the Shedtime Podcast, if you're looking for new comedy, go give it a go. It's already got James's stamp of approval. But I think it's about time for us to start wrapping it up. It's getting late for us, so I'm going to go ahead and just throw it on over to Chris to bring us on home.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys. I just want to say I'm sorry that I was a bit quiet. I have a lot of stuff going on. I was excited about the beginning, and it's not that I was not interested in what you guys were talking about. I just have kidney stones right now. And for anybody out there that doesn't know what that's like it's horrible. I will say that. And so I was starting to get really antsy over here. I just took some pain pills and I have to go pee. And I'm like, just every time I go pee, I'm like, please just let them come out. But I also know that they probably won't because it hurts so much. But anyways, on a positive note, thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you guys, of course, as always. Check out shedtimepodcast.com. You can listen to us there. You can check out all the stuff that we have on there. And it's worth it. Also, go to Frame Shankland Vapors YouTube channel on Friday nights at 8 o'clock for the green room, because we'll just have fun there too. We might not talk about all the same shit, but we talk about some of the same shit, and we have fun. So yeah, I think that's everything for me. So everybody be safe, have a good week, live your best life. James, go ahead, buddy.
I'll keep it short and sweet. As always, keep up those 5-star reviews if you can, peeps. That always helps us out. And as always, I'm going to just send out all those positive vibes, crisp high fives. Don't forget to tell someone you love them, and a little bag or dab will do ya.
That is an absolute fact. So, friends, shedtimepodcast.com. You can find the merch store and everything else right there. Of course, those 5-star reviews greatly appreciated. All the likes, all the love. We truly appreciate it. Don't forget to tell someone you know that's into podcasts. Check out Shedtime. It's a good show. And other than that, you know what I'm going to tell you? Don't let the best get you down. Be cool. Don't be a dick. And whatever it is that you do, try and have some fun. It's the Shedtime Podcast, and it's time to roll on up and roll on out. Dynavap, Dynavap, Dynavap. Looking to cut the cord on your dry herb vape? Dynavap. Trying to get the best taste from your herb? Dynavap. Ready to take your sesh to the next level? Then meet Dynavap, the best way to vape your flower or concentrate. Concentrates? That's right. Your flower or hash can be vaped using Dynavap. Check out Dynavap.com to learn more. That's Dynavap.com. Lose the ash? Dynavap.
What's going on, Shedheads? It's your boy, Frange Janklin. Are you looking to step up your match game or have a raw copper, brass, or stainless mod or RDA that you're absolutely tired of polishing? Then you need to go and hit up my man Ashton of Palmer's Powders. He does some absolutely amazing powder coating work. He offers many different colors and finishes at an absolutely killer price. This man is taking powder coating to a whole new level, and he can make your setup an absolute masterpiece. You can go follow him over on Instagram at Palmer's Powders, and you can go check out pricing on his website, palmerspowders.com. That's palmerspowders.com. And as always, let's just vape on, Shedheads.
I want you to think of your favorite rebuildable right now. Yeah, okay, so you have a layer cake in your hand, and now you're about... Oh, sorry, yeah, that's not everyone's favorite. That's just mine. So think of your favorite rebuildable atomizer. Think about how good of a vape it produces for you. Now, take that and amplify it. And the way that you amplify that is you put in some Breezestone coils. Breezestone coils are handcrafted in Adelaide, Australia. They're made from some of the finest quality wire that you can get. I believe it's wire Buddha. You take those coils, you take them out of that phenomenal packaging that clearly shows how much care that Adam puts on the quality of his coils and the insurance that you get them in good shape. You put them in that favorite RDA, and guess what? You have coils that now sing better than Celine Dion. Go check out Breezestone coils. You can find them on localvape.com and also steelvalleyvapors.com. Suck, dude.
Bada bing, bada boom. And thank you, Gina.